Hello again, I am Blunty. I'm the little blocky Blunty, that's who I am, here in Minecraft. I think someone might have messed with that sign slightly. Who remembers Minecraft? Who around here is a stream peeps? Who remembers the charity stream where we made the Minecraft? Callbacks! So, we're in Minecraft with RTX, and this is NVIDIA's little demo, and we're not going to be spending a lot of time in here, because you're probably going to see this quite a lot, because this is one of the demo worlds that NVIDIA supplied to a few sort of media types and streamer types and YouTuber types to demonstrate various aspects of the ray tracing they've added to Minecraft Windows 10 Edition as of tomorrow, if this video goes up on the day it's supposed to go up on, if everything goes to plan. And I will have a couple of more heavily scripted videos going through some of the technology and doing some comparisons, comparing the 2080 to the, or 2080 Ti actually, to the 2060 to get both ends of the performance spectrum. And I will be comparing the Java ray tracer to this Windows 10 NVIDIA made ray tracer as well, because I have been using ray tracing on the Java edition for quite some time now. You don't actually need an RTX card to do ray tracing. The Java one does it on CPU. It is an unofficial community made thing that's still in development, but it can be done, and I'm going to show you all about it, and I'm going to compare the two. But today I wanted to show you around some demo rooms. So we're going to take a quick look at NVIDIA stuff just a real quick look. We'll just do this one first. So come in here, and you can download this yourself. This is one of the freebies they'll be giving away so for people to easily demonstrate it. So you can see there, we've got various light emitting blocks reflecting against a mirror-like surface. As you can see, by the way, I'm going to talk about a few of the problems in this video too. This is a work in progress. It is not done. It is not finished. It is still in development, and it is in open beta as of tomorrow when this video goes live. For people to test out. They're not done with it yet, but they're ready to show it off and get some community feedback. So as you can see, only my arm is showing up in that reflection right now, which looks super weird, but that's because only my arm is being rendered by the game because, well, the game's not rendering my body because the game's not showing my body. And Minecraft, it's not designed to deal with reflective surfaces, so it doesn't bother rendering what isn't on screen. That's why you can't see your feet when you look down. But if I do this, oh, look at that. Suddenly I can see myself in the mirror. Let's get nice and close here. Actually, let's do this. Ooh, yeah, reflections. Because, it's rendering my character model now because my character model's on screen. Therefore, it can reflect it now, and it does reflect it perfectly, properly respecting the side of my face, the side of my head that you can actually see on camera and things like that. So, yeah, that's one of the little issues, and I hope they fix that because that's very disconcerting. It's even weirder when you're holding an object because you can't see your arm at all. You can just see the object floating. It's like you're invisible. It's super weird. They haven't, you might have noticed there, unlike a lot of shaders, ray tracing or not, on the Java edition, they haven't yet made it so the torches glow while in your hand. That is a thing a lot of people really like about shaders. Again, doesn't matter if they're ray tracing or not, but even the regular shaders in the Java edition, you can carry a torch and illuminate around you as you walk. It's super useful to do while mining and things, but that hasn't been implemented here yet. If you're watching NVIDIA nerd engineer people, we need that. We need that up, and we need things to glow when we hold them. Same is true of the glowing blocks here. If I can just pick block that one there, they've made the pink terracotta emissive for the demonstration purposes of this texture pack and whatnot. But yeah, as you can see, it doesn't glow on my hand. One of the other issues is you can see the lights the blocks fade into existence a little bit, and when you break them, the light slowly disappears. That's a weird little artifact of the way they're trying to make ray tracing more efficient. So it doesn't overwhelm the system. I hope they sort of get that a little bit better because it's, it's not an issue, but it's pretty distracting. I'm going to leave that there. So yeah, different blocks emit different color, and they've got guides up on how to create your own texture packs if you're that type of person, if you're smart enough to do that, and teach you how to do sort of, stuff that looks like it's got a texture and stuff that glows and stuff that shines and stuff that's not, shiny but still reflects light and all that sort of stuff, and stuff that's matte, and, they'll teach you all about that. So this is just a demo room. Sort of experimenting with different light colors and different, look at shadow. This is what ray tracing does. That's shadow, proper shadow. Even when this thing isn't on screen, the game knows it's there, so it makes the shadow proper. That's what sets ray tracing apart from a lot of other regular type shaders. It pays attention to lights that aren't on screen. If this was a regular shader, a global illumination shader, that reflection would disappear as soon as the main source is off screen. But of course, ray tracing doesn't do that. Anyway, you can go through this yourself. You can download this world for free and experiment and have a pop around yourself. I want to show you some additions I've made. And I've made these same rooms in my Java edition too. So we'll be using this as a demonstration for the comparison between the Java stuff and this. So we've just got sunlight sort of streaking through the slats over here. So that's one example. I think they need to turn down the world fog a bit. That sunlight's a bit too beamy, don't you think? Looks like there's too much dust in the air. But look, sunlight out there, squirting through the trees, squirting through these blocks here, being occluded by these solid blocks, and reflecting on this surface here, and sort of catching on the edge of this and beaming down here where it's, you know, these little soft lights reflecting here, and the beam, it's just, it behaves like light behaves, and it looks really, really pretty. But it also can give you situational cues. You can tell what time of day it is, even if you can't see the sun. You go, oh, the light's bouncing off that wall. Must be dawn. Actually, I think it's sunset. I forget which way the sun is facing. I've got the time of day locked, so the light never changes when I was building this. So yeah, as you can see here, just sort of more subtle reflections on the slightly more matte, shiny surface here. And if we come back to this surface, you can't see them all. And this is very, very matte. And yeah, all this is great. Well, these are very bright, aren't they? So you might have just seen the exposure change there. So if we sort of tuck ourselves into the corner here, you can see at the edge of the screen how bright those lanterns are. Then we come back on here and it just fades down real quick and real subtle. So it does a little iris effect to try and balance exposure. I don't think they've got HDR working with this yet, but that'll be interesting if that gets implemented as well. But yeah, I did play this on HDR screen at one point. I didn't notice any difference in how that exposure works. Anyway, so we'll just come through here. There's the end video. See, this is Team Green's flex room. And over here is Blunty's test chambers. All right, so let's go up the stairs. And as you can see, the ring of light around the door frame here is being reflected on the quartz stairs here, which is really, really cool. You can even see that little orange light back there. Look at that. That's beaming through the door right there. That subtle reflection. Raytracing is awesome. Nothing special really there. So in here, I've got a bunch of doors. Just shut that off to get the light out. A bunch of doors with different light sources behind them. So we'll just close them off one by one, and I'll show you why I built these doors. You might want to shut that off to get the light from the corridor out of the room. So as you can see, the light is gradually fading away. It's going to be real dark in here soon, except for the trapdoors. I should have put solid trapdoors up there, shouldn't I? Block out the light completely, because we're still getting light leaking through the holes in the trapdoor. Actually, that's not a mistake. I did that deliberately to demonstrate this particular little function here, because it's awesome. So, check this out. Oh, white light pulls out the door. No big shock at this point, right? You're expecting that. There's no player shadow unless I do this. I get my player thing on screen. Then we get a shadow. So again, that's something I hope they fix. Shouldn't be too hard to fix in theory. But yeah, check this out. Blue light. Oh, it makes a big pool of blue light. But what if we do this? Red light. Oh, there's a big pool of blue. Oh, wait. The colors are mixing properly. There's purple in the middle. Because colors behave like colors should and do in real life. There is nothing fake about this. This is the game treating red light as if it's red light. So the red against the green, and look at that. We get the mixed color in the middle there. Who can tell me what that color is? Leave your answers in the down below section. I'm going to treat this like a play school now. Do you know what color you get when you mix blue and green? All right, let's go in here. So we've got different materials here as well. Some more reflective than others. So that's a very sharp reflection on that. It's a more dull reflection on that. That's what an iron block looks like in this pack. So you have different materials acting differently depending on how they're set up. So over here, we've got, again, that mirror surface there. In fact, I was standing too close to it. You can see there, they've changed. This is a red nether brick. They've changed that to be a mirror-like surface for the purposes of this demo room. Not sure you want to play in survival like that because, well, the nether actually doesn't work properly in this pack yet. I might show it to you, I might not. But yeah, they're not done with the nether yet. The overworld is tough enough at the moment. So we've got a bunch of light here being occluded by the iron bars and reflected around and mixing a little bit on the floor and everything. That's all well and good. Yoink. So this demo room, shut the door behind us. So what I've got here, and in my Java world, the iron bars are also reflective, but they're not so in this pack. I'll show you that in the comparison video, but you can see the gold is reflecting the iron bars, which are reflecting some of the light. So they're a slightly different color on this side than they're on this side. The water is reflecting those lights behind there, and the ceiling is reflecting. You can see, just if you watch the sides here, you can see See how those lights are kind of dancing? That's the ray tracing happening. So it's bouncing lights going bing, bing, bong, and bouncing around, and then it slowly decays. That's again, remember that fade out effect I show you? That's the rays being traced out, basically. They bounce around and then they reach end of life and they die. Unlike real life photons, because if they bounced forever, it would get so computationally complex the game just wouldn't run. So sooner or later, you have to stop bouncing rays. So you do get odd effects like this sometimes. I don't know whether there's something they can do to fix that or tone it down a bit, but it can be a little bit distracting in some rooms. I mean, I guess you could pretend that is, you know, the surface of the water bouncing light around, but as you can see, this water is perfectly still. There's no waves on the water to accommodate that reflectivity, bouncing, glittering going on. Right, so here, infinity mirror. Mirror versus mirror. Let me go in once again to this viewpoint so we can see this a little bit better. So there's another example of diminishing returns. You can only bounce light so many times before it gets so computationally complex, it will just bog down the game. So it's not a true infinity mirror. We have 1, 2, 3, like 5 reflections back there. And there is a setting in the game. If we go to settings, there is in the advanced video, ray tracing render distance, 8 chunks. This doesn't affect how many reflections I get. I can turn that up to 12 and I still get the same number of reflections. That is a different thing I'll show you a little bit later on once we get outside. But yeah, you can do infinity mirrors, but not quite to infinity. Infinity for a very limited value of infinity. There are math nerds in chat right now with their minds exploding. But as you can see, this mirror is reflecting the light from this room here. And this is just kind of a little demo room I've set up to glowstone down here and recessed lighting here, reflecting off its own little walls and then also bouncing and spilling out onto the floor. And I've done that with a few different colors. There's nothing particularly unique about the way this works, but it's nice to walk back and forth through here and look at the different colors and spills and reflections and sort of, you know, off the walls and things like that. It makes a good little demo because it's so dark in here. And in my Java Edition world, the way the texture is set up, the little flecks in the obsidian here is a little bit reflective as well. I'll show you that in the comparison video. So again, make sure you're subscribed, etc., etc., etc. Now I'm going to show you my favorite ray tracing demo. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this blew my mind when I tried this in my Java world with the PTGI shader, and it blew my mind again when I tried it in Minecraft RTX. So I've just got a black room to stop light bouncing around too much in here, and I've drawn an upside down smiley face on the wall there. There's a hole in the wall right there. If you know anything about photography, you might have come across the concept of the very first camera, the camera obscura. It did not create permanent images, you know, it didn't have like photosensitive paper in it, but it is a camera. It's called the camera obscura, and it is this. It's a tiny little hole into a fully blacked out box, or in some cases an entire room. And because this traces rays and makes light work like light should work, the light from that smiley face comes, actually there we go, I've got a redstone lamp around here so we can see a bit better. The hole in the wall bounces through there, and just like it does in a real lens, pinhole lens or glass lens alike, and I wish I could get that hole smaller. I did try it with stairs and it did kind of work, but it made it too dim to be useful, so a semi-slab hole there. Actually, can we pull this down just a little bit more? Make it a little bit, there we go. So you can see, the smaller I make that hole, the sharper the image gets, but also the dimmer it gets because it's letting less light through. There we go. So it's big fuzzy there. Put that back. Gets a little bit sharper. But as you can see, there's a little bit of weirdness and lag and glitching going on because this is very computationally tricky to do. I don't know why that all lit up there like it was a grass block, but that's not a grass block there. That's whatever. But yeah, this blew my mind. Light is working precisely like it does in real life. You can do this in real life, and people have done this. I mean, this is how the cameras were invented, by discovering this little quirk of light, having the image be reversed as it sort of beams through here. This is how your eyeballs work. With, you know, that's your eyeball iris, and that's the back of your eye, the retina. This is how light is supposed to work, and it blows my mind that it works perfectly, or close to perfectly. Even when I open the door, you can see the door there. Yeah. I just love this demonstration so much. And again, I've built this exact same room in my Java world, and it does work slightly differently there. So keep an eye out for that comparison video. As you can tell, I'm excited about the comparison video. There's lots of cool stuff to look at. Now comes some rooms I didn't actually build in my Java Edition. These are rooms for other specific uses. Well, this one I did actually. This one's in my Java Edition as well, but it looks very different in Java. So here, I've got many different reflective surfaces. So we've got reflective iron on the walls, on the roof and the floor, and water, and some surfaces here that's sort of dull and very, very opaque and very soft, and iron over here with some emissive sources back there. So there's lots of light bouncing around this room. And I've got these redstone torches on a cycle, so they actually blink in a cycle around the room. Interestingly enough, in this texture pack, when a redstone torch is off, it still throws out a little bit of light. It just throws out more light when it's on. It's an interesting choice. Again, that's a thing to do with the texture pack, nothing to do with how ray tracing in general works. Because in different texture packs, these can be totally off. That's one of the reasons that this room looks different to my Java equivalent room. But yeah, there's lots of light bouncing around this room, constantly changing light sources, different reflective surfaces bouncing light around differently in all different ways. And we're going to use this room as a performance metric as well because of... I mean, it's a very boring looking room, but it's quite complex in what it's doing with the light. So as you can see here, blue and green lights spilling, mixing onto the floor through a couple of different levels of pane here. So I've got a glass pane there, and then I've got half a glass pane, sort of because it's attached to the wall there. So you get 4 levels of 2 different colors mixing on the floor here, which I found very interesting as well. So this room, this is a room I've just built in this version so far because... the Java edition doesn't, the PTGI shader in Java doesn't do what these do. Not yet, anyway. It's still being worked on. It probably will at some point, but it doesn't do it yet. Not as well as this anyway. So, the cutouts in the various kinds of doors and trapdoors behave physically appropriately. So, the beam of light coming through there, as you can see, little paths of shadows through the beams. What do you call those? Struts? I don't know. Gets appropriately treated. You can't see it super clearly on the ground there, but you can see the main bar across the middle because that's the thickest part, and the vertical ones are there but very, very faint, just like it would be in real life because light spreads out. Same thing here with the 3 beam there. You can see that one a little bit more clearer. Iron door here, fully open and closed, and we get that little thing there. And as you can see, the reflection on the wall is bounced across the mirror surface I've got on the floor here, but not the beam itself. Unlike real life. You would see the beam in real life. So that is just a little, either something I haven't done yet or something they've turned off deliberately for the sake of computational efficiency. But for the most part, it works just like you would expect it to. Even when the reflection touches the reflective surface there, it doubles it up there. It's awesome. And that's a good example of the texture on the side of the brick there, making it look like it has a 3D texture there, even though it is a flat surface. Don't tell anybody. This door here, very small hole, lets out very little light. And there's probably all kinds of interesting ways you could use these in puzzles or for display purposes. You can have little beams of light shining on item frames or something for special items you've collected throughout the world and sort of do it fancy that way, or make a literal clock in the world. You know, a shadow sundial clock would work perfectly. But yeah, that's, you know, you get the point. This is just a demo room for me experimenting with all this kind of stuff and seeing how they work. And does light leak through the sort of thin... I would like to see that happen, actually. I would like to see the light leak through... Is that supposed to be paper or just, you know, opaque glass? I would like to see light leak through that one a little bit. Don't know if that's something they can do or not. But at the other end here, I've just got some light sources because if we go back down the other end here, even through all of this other light being reflected around, this wall here, which by the way is white material, is picking up the colors of those 3 colors over there and mixing them very faintly on this wall, and they're even occluded properly with this little block I put in the way, so you can see the shadow of that sitting right there. This is just me sort of messing around in here, basically just playing with light. So I've got a reflective surface there. That's another reflective mirror block there, and a slime block on a hole in the ceiling, so you can see the green light from the sun filters through the slime block and creates a soft green light in here, which is properly reflected. So in here, light source, as you can see. Now, this is something else the PTGI shader in Minecraft doesn't do yet. Glass panes will change the color of light coming from the sun, as is evidenced by this red shadow here coming from these red blocks we've got over here. Like the PTGI shader in Minecraft does that, but it doesn't do this. It doesn't change the color of emissive light from blocks yet. So that's what I was testing out with that stuff there. single color of light as far as the block is concerned, but 2 different colors of light as far as the glass changes it to be, which I think is awesome. And this is just the back of that other room. So as we come through here, let's get rid of that torch. Close that off so you can see that a little bit better. We come through here, which, there we go. We've got some redstone lamps, a little cycle there. So this again is just me playing around with light, mixing and changing and doing things and sort of refracting through glass. And this is a good example of glass refraction. So you can see on the top surface of that glass, you can see the refracted redstone lamp from the bottom there. And this, again, is exactly how real light works. It gets refracted through glass. It gets bent through glass. That's why when you put a straw into your cooling drink of water in the summer, the straw looks bent. If you look at it through the side of the glass, it looks like it's disjointed. It looks like it's cut off. Comes at a different angle. That's what that's all about, refraction. And if I go over here and turn these on, again, I've got a reflective surface. So this is just me testing out more of this when it comes to, whoops, bouncing colored light on and off the character model. As you can see, it does work. My backside is lit up appropriately. And when I come out of there, it fades away again. So, where am I? What view am I in? I'm lost. I've got myself talked anyway. I was turned around there for a second. So yeah, let's fly outside here and I'll show you that other thing I was talking about. So this is all my stuff I built over here. These are NVIDIA's rooms over here. They had someone build to them. Right, so let's get a good example. Let's use the shadows of this building here, for example. So as you can see, the ray tracing at the moment, it's tracing the sun rays, and we've got a pool of light beneath us there from the brightest of the sun and the shadow of the building and everything, and it fades away into the render distance. So what if we go back into advanced video and turn down that ray tracing render distance back down to 8, which is the default, by the way. All of a sudden, the render distance hasn't changed, but the ray tracing distance has. It's only tracing rays, only checking on light behavior out to 8 chunks now. The game is still rendering the other stuff, but you can't see it because of the way the light behaves. So all of a sudden, it's a bit like just changing standard render distance. I mean, if the light isn't showing it, it might as well not be rendered anyway. But it is slightly different from the regular chunk distance you normally see, which I think they've disappeared from this menu because this does a functionally similar thing. So let's go all the way up to 24 chunks. And we are using a 2060 here at the moment in 1080p, so not the most powerful, in fact, the weakest of the RTX cards. We've got to 24 chunks here. As you can see, we're still getting above 60 frames per second, but now, I mean, there's not much to see in the world because it's a flat world, but now you can see the shadows reach all the way out there. But on a survival world with more stuff going on, with more trees and things like that, this render distance, this ray tracing distance might become a bit more of an issue as far as performance goes. As you can see, as we come down to the trees here, all of a sudden we drop down to 30 FPS also. I have actually unlocked the frame rate at the moment. Usually, Windows 10 Edition has a V-synced frame rate, and there is no option in any of these menus to change that. I'm going to go back to note 12 here. Seems to work fine. But you can manually edit a configuration file to turn off frame rate locking, basically, or the V-sync, which I've done because I wanted to run tests on how this game performs at various levels and resolutions and things like that. So, but yeah, by default, it will lock itself to either 60 or 30, whichever one it can more easily get to. But there you go. That's a little brief sort of tour around my demo rooms and the things I've been using to test this world and experiments I've been doing. But yeah, the camera obscura room is by far my favorite. But again, you can download the default version of this world, which just has this room out to 4 various kinds of demonstrations. And there are other Minecraft worlds you can download as well, which have different texture packs and different demonstrations of the various ray tracing things. They're available in the marketplace. Let's see if I can show you them here as we go out. So if we go to marketplace, I'm not sure whether this will change when the actual release happens. But right now I have to manually search for them. RTX and newest first. So there we go. There's Crystal Palace. There's color, light, and shadow, a little puzzle room thing there. And I think this one you can use as a survival world. I don't think this is on a flat world. I'll have to double check that. That's what I was told. I only had a quick peek at it. Temples and Totems, which is an adventure survival thing with lots of different puzzles. This one's pretty fun. I definitely recommend you check this one out. I haven't done all the puzzles in it yet, but I did play around with it a bit, and it's really well done. If you like adventure maps, check this out. Aquatic Adventure, it's just kind of there to be pretty, not very useful for anything. And Imagination Island is a nice demonstration of how to use various lighting techniques in a practical world when you're trying to demonstrate certain things or light up certain areas in certain ways and things like that. I'm not sure why all these other ones are coming up in an RTX search. They've got nothing to do with the RTX. It's just sleazy search engine cheating things, I guess. But yeah, these are the 5 worlds that will be available at launch for free, I believe. They were for free for me, at least. They should still be free for you, because I imagine they would want to show off to people. So yeah, definitely check them out. And thank you for watching. Please stay tuned, because there are more videos on this subject coming in the RTX beta here. And again, if there's anything in particular you want me to try out, let me know. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what other people think and do with this. So again, thank you everyone who was viewed all the way through, left comments, done the thumb thing. And make sure you subscribe, and make sure you ring that bell to make sure you get notified of the other videos on the subject, because the other ones are a little bit more technical, a little bit more practical, and very, very interesting and revealing, especially the RTX versus Java ray tracing comparison. Some interesting stuff going on there. Yes, they are. Until then, thank you especially to my patrons. Peace out. No, wait, that's what I say on my live streams. Sorry, I was recording this as if it was a live stream. I say peace out on my live streams. On YouTube, I say, thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I'll catch you next time. I've ruined it. Ruined it.